stock market with YouTubers. All right. So I want to welcome everybody. And today's the 24th. And again, just practicing on this YouTube live just so we can make some mistakes. And so I decided that I'm going to talk about a question that I get often, which is about the stock market and these YouTubers. So let me go ahead and let's talk about some things because I know a lot of my students and a lot of people out there are interested or they hear a lot of things and they might not have any idea. All right, so this isn't financial advice. I'm not your advisor. But I just want to talk about it to answer a lot of people's questions. All right, because this past year, right, a lot of people have been investing. And so let me talk about what's been going on. So there's always all these headlines, right? And people are getting stimulus checks, and people hear from friends how much money they made in the stock market and this and that. And so we got to be very careful because right now there's so many people losing money because they really don't understand um, what the stock market is all about. Right, and it's a very, it's a roller coaster, and it's complicated. It's not straightforward. Some people are gonna act like they know it all, but it's a complicated thing. But there are ways where you could play it safe. I love to play it safe so that you could have your money work for you. Because I think what most people do is they get paid, say get paid by Friday, and they're broke by Monday. So we got to be careful what we do with our money. And the stock market is a great way to grow your money, right? Because you got to provide for your family, right? You got to take care of those future generations down the road and teach them much of what's not taught to us. Because in school, unfortunately, they don't really teach about money, but they should, right? Because everyone uses money. So I want to talk about some things. And so what I see a lot of people doing is they'll go and they'll watch YouTubers and they'll just take their advice. And you got to be very careful when you're doing this, right? In terms of who you're taking advice from, who you're getting educated from. And so what I did is I watch these guys too, but let me show you the process, a mathematical way, a safer way before I just start listening to people. So for example, here's one guy that I do listen to. So this guy's Stock Mo. He just started, but before I would listen to him and take him seriously, this guy has a nice background, right? He's an educator in stocks for many years, won a lot of awards. But when he would put out advice starting back like in August or October, what I would do is I would keep track, right, on paper of the advice that this guy would give. And I would say, all right, based on his advice, how are things going over time? How are things looking? So I would keep a track of all the recommendations he would make. And I would keep track of how those stocks were doing. And based on that probability, right, I would see that, man, this guy's money right here. Again, this isn't financial advice. I'm just showing some observations that I've been making. I'll say, man, this guy, he knows what he's doing. And again, he's an educator and has been doing this for a while. And I could see, oh, you know what? This guy's trustworthy right here. And I like this channel too because he shows his portfolio. Like he makes it public of what he's buying, how much when he loses, or again, you only lose when you sell, but he gives so much useful advice. He's not just telling people buy this, buy this, buy this, and I'm making tons of money. No, he educates you along the process. So whenever you're getting advice from someone, make sure that they're educating you, right? That you're not just there copying. So this is one guy that I like, and what's very awesome is there's always opportunities out there. So for example, unfortunately, a lot of people right now they see, look at this video. He's saying Tesla, Neo, CV. He's buying these, and I could imagine that he's probably buying these because there's some news about a semiconductor shortage and there's a fire in one of the factories. So what happens is there's a headline that happens, right? If we were to look it up, let's just put semiconductor, I don't know, fire. and Japan. And so there's the headlines right away, right? And so the market, people react. And what happens is as people react, a lot of people that have no idea what's going on, they just see people selling. They're like, oh, shoot, everyone's selling. Let me sell too. And that's when they lose so much money. And it's really sad because they're not educating themselves. So they're losing tons and tons of money. And all of a sudden, it's creating a discount for a lot of billionaires and millionaires to go in there and be like, oh man, there's a sale going on. This stock is going to recover in months. And these people, these billionaires, they're in it for the long run, right? They understand that this is a process. They're not going to make $1 million like that. Or maybe they will because they have so much money to work with. But it's not a get rich scheme for them. This is a calculated process. And so what I want you doing is learning to think kind of like the billionaires are thinking in terms of how they're managing their money. What are they doing? So as these companies, right, are getting beat up, this is a great time, in my opinion, to go and pick these up because set a little alarm and reminder in your iPhone or whatever you have and check out the stock today and then do it a year from now. And then you're going to be thinking, right? I'm high probability, like, dang, I should have picked up that stock when it was down. And again, emotions are part of this when you're learning about the stock market because a lot of people are going to be like, oh no, I don't want to do it because it doesn't feel right to buy something that's sinking. But that's why the education and whatever you do, education is so important. That's why in my math videos, I teach you guys how to think because once you know how to think, everything changes. So this is one guy I would go check out. All right, another guy that's a lot more entertaining, high energy, is this guy Keenan Grace, and he does he gives a lot of long-term advice and short-term advice. And what's interesting about this, and again, I've done the same thing. I've kept track because I don't know who these guys are. They're just strangers to me, right? So I keep track and I say, why should I listen to this guy? So I had a long list before he's had a lot of viewers, right? Right now, these guys have exploded this last year in terms of subscribers. So, and I kept track and I could see like, man, for a high probability, this guy knows what he's talking about. And I don't know what his background is, but this guy is also money. And what's cool about this guy is he'll tell you at what prices he would get in. He'll tell you what prices or when to get out, and he gives you a strategy. And again, he really cares about what he's doing because this type of information, I wish it were made easily available to everybody, but not everyone's going to go and search or find these guys because there's thousands of people on YouTube. How are you going to find these people? And this guy cares about, helping the person who this is brand new to and educating them. And that's what I'm into, right? I'm into education and people trying to help others, come up. And this guy, you could just tell when you listen to his videos, he has a good heart and he's trying to make a change. So I love that. And he's not bragging about, buying all these things. No, he's actually talking about real life and talking about, taking your family maybe out of poverty and about changing your life. And this is an opportunity, right? This is an opportunity and re-educating because again, what most people do is no matter how much they get paid, they get stuck in a cycle and they dig a hole, they dig themselves into debt. And no matter how much they make, they're never satisfied. They get a bigger debt, more debt, more debt. And that's why you see a lot of these athletes, right? They'll make $20 million or whatever. And then at the end of their career, they end up owing millions of dollars, which is crazy, or thousands of dollars. And why? Because they were never taught how to manage their money. They were never taught how to invest their money. So when we talk about math, this has to be a big part of it, right? This is a big part of it. And another person is this Jeremy guy. Is kind of a silly dude, but he gives great advice as well in terms of evaluating stocks, and he's a long-term investor. And that's why I like to think about myself, where I'm not trying to make $1 tomorrow, an extra dollar, right? I'm trying to teach my family, my kids, how, every decision you make is going to have some type of impact down the road. So you have to value and think about, should I buy this brand new car? And how much is that car going to be worth next year? Is that an investment, or is that something going to tie you up? It's going to make you work longer, say at a job that you don't like. And so again, it's that thinking that a lot of us have to change. And that's what I really like about these guys, is they really think differently and they've become very successful at what they do. And just like I've done with the other channels, is I kept track of this guy's predictions or recommendations. And I have seen, I'm like, oh, wow, most of the time, the majority of the time, this guy has been correct. And so, what I like and the way I use it is, instead of me having to do so much research, I look at these guys' recommendations because they've done so much research already. And then I go and check some things and be like, all right, you know what? I'm totally on board and I can invest. And this last year, even though it was very unfortunate for most folks, because I've had this type of mentality and strategy, right, we've been able to have easily over 100% in terms of returns, because, and this is something that it's not regular and it doesn't happen often. It happens when there's a market crash like we had this previous year. And so when these opportunities, and I hate to call them opportunities because for some people they lost so much money, but remember, one man's opportunity is not an opportunity for maybe someone else. So again, I hate to call them opportunities, but that's what it was, as a financial opportunity to get in and buy things at a discount and to understand things. So check this out too, and the importance about graphs. Let's look at this. And let me show you something that doesn't get looked at. Let me just put the NASDAQ. Let me show you guys something real fast. Check this out. A lot of people are panicking because they have tunnel vision. They look at something narrow. Check this out. This is a very narrow graph, and what a lot of people are seeing is, oh my gosh, everything's falling, and they sell, sell, sell. But what they don't see, because they don't understand the big picture, is, check out this. If I look at the last 5 years or whatever, this is just a little bump in the road, right? Compared to where we're going. So if I were to graph this, what we would expect, right, is we would expect our this NASDAQ or whatever stocks that you're looking at, as long as they're well, they have good foundations and stuff, we would expect growth. And with growth, there are times where, this guy falls. But what happens? Eventually it's going to get back up, and you got to be patient, and you can't treat this like a casino. So again, so many people been asking me, to do a little video. This is very informal. Again, it's not financial advice, but a lot of people need to know, once you get out there, you get your job, how do I take advantage of opportunities just so I'm not working paycheck to paycheck, and you start to grow your nest egg so that one day you could use it. And what I love doing is I love giving a lot of my earnings, right, at the college I work with, first part of my check goes back to helping the students, right? You get to live differently. And that's what I want for people. I want them to be able to live differently. So hopefully this is helpful. Go ahead and smash that like button if anyone ends up watching this. And I'll talk to you, mathletes, later. Have yourselves a great day. So let's figure out how to get out of here.